100 years since Britain was at war with France, the skyline is still dominated by the Greenwich Hospital. It was Queen Mary II whose dream it was to build a home for the relief and support of seamen serving on board the ships and vessels belonging to the Navy Royal, who, by reason of age, wounds, or other disabilities, shall be incapable of further service. Sir Christopher Wren was brought in to design the new hospital on the site of Charles II's palace in Greenwich. It was to take over 50 years to complete the project, which was expensive. King William paid £2,000 a year, but his first payment was 2 years overdue. More than £2,000 came from French merchants who were fined for smuggling. At the turn of the 18th century, the base wing of King Charles Court was built. King William's Court and Queen Anne's Court were to follow. The bricks were supplied by a Mr. Foe, later known as the writer Daniel Defoe. Over the years, more building went on until, in 1789, the chapel was reopened 100 years after the coronation of the hospital's royal founders. The Greenwich pensioners were accommodated in wards in each of the quarters. Each man had a pound of meat a day, beef 3 days a week, and mutton on 2. Bread was served each day, along with half a gallon of beer. By the 1860s, the introduction of naval pensions meant that more were living with relatives as out-pensioners. In 1869, the last pensioners left their quarters, and the hospital stood empty until the arrival of the Royal Naval College in 1873. Great battles are remembered on the walls of Greenwich: the Nile, the Dutch and French wars, and Trafalgar. Nelson's body lay in state in the Painted Hall. The hospital is home to an important art collection with pictures of great battles through the years. The children of seamen at the hospital were to be educated in the school, which opened on the pensioners' burial ground. It merged with the Royal Naval Asylum and became the Royal Hospital School in 1892. More than 10,000 boys from Greenwich joined the Navy. So far, 5 have become admirals. The finest traditions of the Royal Navy are remembered today as the original Greenwich Hospital building houses the Royal Naval College. An idea that began with Queen Mary's compassion for the wounded is today the foundation of the future of the senior service. The youth of tomorrow are educated at the Royal Hospital School on the banks of the River Stour in Suffolk. The 850-acre estate was owned by Gifford Sherman Reed at the turn of the century. He offered it to the Admiralty, provided that they could offer a positive use for the land in gratitude for the protection of his vessels during the Great War. The decision was therefore taken to purpose-build a new school on the site, a task which began in 1929. The 11 boarding houses are home to some 650 pupils. Boys and girls once again, since the decision to be co-educational in 1990. Until 1944, the pupils leaving Holbrook were expected to join the Royal Navy, often through HMS Ganges, which was nearby in Shotley. Since that time, there's been no such compulsion. The last parade held at Greenwich took place before the Second World War.
In the heart of London, the Greenwich Royal Hospital has for over 200 years trained boys for the Navy. But today sees the end of the old association with the closing of the school. And to mark the occasion, the boys hold a final ceremonial parade in the historic quadrangle. The Admiral Superintendent takes a final salute in Greenwich before the school moves to its new quarters at Holbrook in Suffolk. A feature of the school's training is the musical drill, which helps to create the discipline and style for which the British Navy is renowned.
Fasting on his van! Parade! Stand at! Ace! Gun! Shoulder! Up! Gun! Stand at! Hey! Gun! Stand at! Ace! Parade! Parade! Gun!
Her Majesty the Queen arrives to celebrate the Tercentenary year, when we remember those seafarers for whom the hospital was built and the debt we owe them. And today is the ceremonial review of the naval divisions of the Royal Hospital School.
Your Majesty, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today we celebrate the Tercentenary of Greenwich Hospital. We are enormously grateful to Your Majesty for honouring us with your presence, and we have the greatest pleasure in welcoming you here. There has been royal interest in this great charity throughout its history. King George VI, when Duke of York, laid the foundation of the new buildings of the Royal Hospital School at Holbrook in 1928. Queen Victoria witnessed a parade of the school at Windsor in 1894 to mark the 200th anniversary. And the Royal Charter of 1694, by which Greenwich Hospital was established, was inspired by Queen Mary. Moved by the sufferings of her seamen in battle, Queen Mary determined to establish a hospital for the relief of seamen, for the sustentation of their widows, and for the education of their children. The hospital has sought to fulfill her intentions ever since. It is a remarkable story, vividly illustrated in the exhibition which Your Majesty is shortly to open. 300 years have now passed, and Greenwich Hospital still maintains its strong naval connections. We still support ex-seamen and their widows by means of pensions. We provide sheltered housing at Portsmouth and Plymouth. And I'm glad to announce today that we intend to increase this with a further sheltered housing project here in Greenwich. And the Royal Hospital School, originally on this very site here in Greenwich, continues to provide an excellent education for the children of seafarers. We have exciting plans for the school's development. These include acquiring an ocean-going sail training vessel, forging links with a Dutch school, and creating special tercentenary scholarships to bring pupils from other parts of the Commonwealth to study in the school's sixth form. Thus, we believe the vision of Queen Mary lives on today. Were she here, I believe she would be proud of what has been achieved, and proud also of what is still to come. Your Majesty, we trust that you will enjoy your time with us, and I now invite the headmaster to escort you, to inspect the guard, and then to present new cutlasses to the guard commanders.
Stand.
I am delighted to be here today for the Tercentenary of Greenwich Hospital. I congratulate the school upon a most impressive parade. Over 3 centuries, this historic charity has served the Navy well. Queen Mary, its royal founder, would have approved. I know that Prince Philip, as patron of the Tercentenary, has taken an active interest in the hospital's welfare, and he has asked me to say how sorry he is that he could not be here today. He joins me in congratulating you most warmly on your Tercentenary, and we wish you all good fortune for the future.
Parade! Parade! Jump! Parade will march fast! Move to the right! Infantry! Right! Turn! Turn! Right to left! Quick! Turn! Burn! By the centre! Quick! March! Burn! Halt! Stop! Halt! Stop. Left. Turn. Gun. By the right. Dress. Halt! Bang! Ready! Stop! By the right! Quick! March!
Following the review, Her Majesty signed the charter acknowledging the continued work of the hospital. 300 years on from its foundation, Greenwich Hospital continues to perform its charitable role in accordance with the principles set out by the Royal Charter of 1694. The Queen also opened a specially commissioned exhibition charting the hospital's 300-year-old history, with paintings shown in the 19th century manner in which they used to hang in the painted hall of the hospital. Greenwich Hospital, a refuge for all. It still cares for seafarers and their dependents, but the emphasis has moved from helping the elderly to assisting the young, although the former are still supported in significant numbers. Following the ceremony, Her Majesty was presented to the committee of the school and some investment advisors. Some 80% of the charity's income is now devoted to the Royal Hospital School on its magnificent site at Holbrook, and major help is given towards recurrent and capital expenditure. Here, for instance, a group from the hospital's sheltered housing project. The first at Greenwich Court and the second at Saltash. Much other income remains committed to elderly ex-seafarers who also continue to receive substantial support. The hospital provides a range of pensions, over 1,000 in all, to needy ex-seafarers. Here, Her Majesty being presented to some school pupils, some very proud parents, and some masters. The Queen also met some of the old boys from the school. Old being a curious word, since they seem to get younger every day. Her Majesty was also presented to some sailors from the William and Mary Yacht Club at Hellevoetsluis in Holland, from where William and Mary set off for Torbay 300 years ago.
3 cheers for Her Majesty the Queen.
Finally, Her Majesty was given 3 cheers, a fitting end to the tribute to the cradle of the Navy and a refuge for all. And as Her Majesty departs, what then of the future, as Greenwich Hospital continues to serve seafarers and their dependents for years to come? Dr. Gordon Mungie.
As to the future, we're very excited about the way in which Greenwich Hospital can carry out the principles of the Charter right into the future. We are very conscious of the need to support seamen, to sustain their widows, and we intend to do that by continuing with our program of sheltered housing. We have successfully launched 2 schemes, the last in March of this year in Saltash, and we plan to have another, hopefully very soon. We would like it to be here in Greenwich, thus bringing full circle the work that was begun by Queen Mary 300 years ago. Then for the education of the children of seafarers, we're very keen to develop the Royal Hospital School, a splendid school, in a number of directions. We have plans to acquire, through sponsorship and raising monies, an ocean-going sea training vessel. We also hope to establish, in addition to our links with France and Germany, a link with a Dutch school, thereby retaining and enhancing our connection with the Netherlands, going right back again to the beginning of the Charter. And we wish also to create some special Tercentenary scholarships. These are designed for pupils to come from other parts of the Commonwealth to the school in the 6th form, and thereby open windows on an even wider world. We're privileged in this country at Holbrook to be looking across to Europe, and we want to go from Europe across to a wider world and equip all the children there for the exciting future that lies ahead of them.